Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm gonna make a recipe that you might not have heard before. It's one that I seriously love, and it's called green gumbo or gumbo zerbs, sometimes also called gumbo greens. This is something I learned how to make down in New Orleans, and it's just absolutely delicious, one of my favorites. And I think once you try it, you're gonna wanna make it over and over again, just like I do. So let me show you how to make it. So first things first, I have a bunch of greens, and as you can imagine about green gumbo or gumbo greens, it's all about the greens. So here I have a selection, and you could make green gumbo with pretty much any type of greens, and you're actually encouraged to use as many as possible. The story goes that for every green that you put into your pot of green gumbo, you're gonna make a friend that year. So maybe I'll make some friends this year. So for me, I'm using collard greens, and collard greens are one of my favorite types of greens on the planet. I mean, they're just so delicious, love them. And I also have some dandelion greens and also some rainbow chard. And these are just some really amazing ones that I can pick up at the store. But really, you can use anything from your garden or a big selection of greens. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean these. You wanna clean them from any dirt and debris. And then we're gonna cut off all the real extra fibrous stems. And you can save those for a stock later. But anyway, this is gonna make delicious, leafy, yummy green gumbo. Seriously guys, I like to save these stems because they make a fantastic stock for later. All right, check it out guys. I've got just about 2 pounds of chopped mixed greens. And now we can get cooking. All right guys, I've got my cooking station all set up, and I've got a large pot set to medium heat. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a roux. Now, not all green gumbo recipes start with a roux. Some do, some don't. I prefer a roux because I love the overall extra flavor and texture of the final dish. But so for me, here I have some peanut oil, or you can use vegetable oil. You can also use bacon fat or lard, really. But if you want to go vegetarian, which you can do, use an oil. So I've got 3/4 of a cup of oil, and I have 3/4 a cup of all-purpose flour. And we're just gonna stir it all together, and it's gonna form kind of a slurry, and that's what your roux is. And you can see this is my my roux spoon. It's well worn, well used. You want to get it nice and uniform, and you have to keep stirring. It's very important to keep stirring the roux, because if you don't, it'll start to burn on the bottom, and if you burn your roux, it'll ruin the whole dish. And you'll kind of smell it if it starts to almost like burnt popcorn. You're like, you gotta start over. But making a roux, it'll take anywhere from 10, 15 minutes all the way up to 30 or more, really just depending on how dark you want your roux to be. For this recipe, I call for kind of a medium color roux, like the color of peanut butter, but sometimes I like to go darker to like more of a light or even a darker chocolate brown. It really just depends on your personal preference. All right guys, I've got my roux to about a good color of peanut butter, and at this point you can go ahead and proceed with the recipe, but at some point someone's gonna come along and say, yo, that roux ain't dark enough. And if they do that to you, you have my permission to say, hush, go away. So honestly, you can make the roux as light or as dark as you want to, and you are the one eating it. It is your kitchen, and you are the king of your kitchen. So you make it how you want. So I actually have a video here on YouTube and a post on the website on how to make a roux. So I'll leave a link for that so you can check it out if you want to learn more about the different types of roux. But for now, I have this as a dark peanut butter color. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the recipe. Next, I'm going to add the Cajun Holy Trinity, which is onion, celery, a couple of celery stalks, and a good sized green bell pepper. And we're gonna go ahead and stir. Then we'll just let it cook for maybe 4 or 5 minutes tops to soften up the vegetables. All right, next is the Pope. We got garlic right here. I think I got 4 cloves of garlic, and you can add more. Gonna add that into the pot, along with a couple tablespoons of Cajun seasonings, and I have a recipe for that as well, here and on the website. And I'm also using ham. Ham is very commonly used, and again, you can skip this if you want to make a vegetarian version, but ham is very often used. I have some ham that I smoked over the weekend. We like smoked ham in our house for different things. Salt, pork is actually super popular, or pickled pork, very commonly used. A lot of times I like to throw in like a ham hock, smoked ham hock, yum. But really any pork is good here. Even bacon, you know, bacon. It's really up to you, but I really way more often see salt pork or pickled pork. And we're only gonna cook it for about 30 seconds to a minute or so. Really just bloom the spices a little and cook the garlic a little. And that all blooms and you're like, ah, yes. One of the most beautiful things in the kitchen. All right, got 6 cups of vegetable stock here. You can use other stock if you want. You can use chicken stock or really beef if you wanted, but for vegetarian, obviously, vegetable stock. Go ahead and give it a stir. And now are the greens. So I'm going to stir these in just a little bit at a time, kind of a handful at a time. If you dump the whole thing in there, it's going to, no way. So you got to do a little bit, and it'll break down. Like, this is a lot of greens, but you'll be surprised at how much it breaks down. Check it out. Turn up the heat a little. Patty likes when I turn up the heat. She does not. She does not. Yes, she does. You know what you're gonna love about this, guys, is all these greens are gonna slowly break down and they're going to infuse all that stock, the broth, with lots and lots of flavor. It's a lot like southern collard greens, but on steroids. And this is just one of my very favorite gumbos. I think you're gonna love it. All right, check it out, guys. Whoop. It all fits in the pot. Told you. All right, finally here, don't forget salt to taste. I usually make my Cajun seasoning blend without salt, so I can add salt at the time of cooking later. Really control your salt that way. But if your Cajun blend or Creole blend, if you're gonna use that, has enough salt in it, you're good. And all right, last step here is a couple of bay leaves. And I'm gonna reduce the heat just to a simmer. And then we're gonna cover and we're gonna simmer the pot for around 90 minutes. But really just until all of the greens get nice and soft to your preference. So I'll probably check it after about an hour or so. All right, gonna let it simmer and we'll be back. All right, guys, hey, while this is simmering, let's talk a little bit about the background of this recipe. So Gumbo Zerbs, or green gumbo, has been around for a very long time, but it was really popularized in New Orleans by a woman named Leah Chase at the famous Dookie Chase's restaurant. She made up her version, and it was very often served during Catholic Lent as a meatless option. But of course, you can add all kinds of meat to it, particularly pork. I love it with pork. Everybody seems to love it with pork. I mean, it's just so delicious, adds all that extra flavor. But interestingly, after talking to a bunch of locals around the area, talking about this particular recipe, they really were saying they don't consider it gumbo. They consider it more of a smothered greens recipe. And when I looked around, there are a lot of smothered green recipes that are basically this. So I don't really care what you want to call it. I do know that Gumbo Zerbs is in a lot of my Cajun cookbooks. So I'd really be interested in hearing what you think in the comments below. Regardless, it is delicious. All right, guys, it's been almost 90 minutes. And yo, seriously, look at that. It smells really awesome in here. It's super tender, nice and sort of creamy-ish roux. I mean, look at it. Look at this thing, man. Oh, God, all those greens, they're so tender. Oh, man. You definitely are gonna want this. All right, guys, let's give it a taste. Oh, yeah. I'm serious, man. This is so ridiculously delicious. It's one of my favorites for a reason. Every time. Boom. Yum. That's it, my friends. Green gumbo, or Gumbo Zerbs. Delicious. Hey, I'd love to hear what you think of the recipe in the comments below. And if you're looking for some more amazing recipes, boom and boom right here. Check those out, man. Check them out next. But hey, I can't wait to see you in the kitchen next time. Mike from Chili Pepper Madness. Bye.